but it really will, because it will help balance your hormones, which is what's causing you to not lose weight. And the other thing that I mentioned a little bit about, instead of counting calories, always pair your carbs with protein. So always have your carbs with protein and fat, because if you do that, that's going to help you with insulin resistance, which is what helps you with not gaining more weight. As we talked about right now, because of insulin resistance, your body dumps all this glucose into your fat cells, and that causes fat gain, weight gain. So by working on this blood sugar balance, by don't eat your carbs alone. That's like the message here, is like, don't eat your carbs alone. Some people call it lonely carbs. So you can think of that as like, if you have a banana, and it's lonely, like you don't want it to be lonely. You don't want your carbs to be lonely. You want to eat them with something. They want to be paired with something. And then if you are eating your carbs last in the meal. So that's one of the best ways to lose weight. And again, thinking about this is like, we're not really just trying to lose weight. We're trying to balance our hormones, because that's what's keeping us from losing weight. It's not that you're not eating, that you need to be eating less. Okay, somebody said it looks like the live on Facebook is not working. If you stop, we can retry going live again. Okay, Facebook and YouTube issues are resolved. Good. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so we can just go to the next slide. And again, if you have more questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so insulin resistance and weight gain. Cells send signals to the brain to decrease energy levels because they're not receiving nutrients. Oh yeah, I love science, so this might be too much science for you, but so when your cells are not getting the glucose that is in your blood because they're resisting it, your cells send signals to the brain to decrease energy levels because they're not receiving the nutrients for this. So they're fatigued, they're tired, they're not getting the energy that they need. So they're telling your brain, it's like, okay, we can't do this because we don't have any energy. And then the cells send signals to the brain to increase hunger because they're asking for this energy. And so that's why you get more cravings, because your cells are like needing more of this, which is already in your bloodstream, but there's this insulin resistance that's keeping them from taking it in. So this is why you may have constant cravings and constant hunger if you have insulin resistance and PCOS. This is really common. And this causes an increased fat storage because, again, your glucose gets dumped in your fat cells, low energy levels, and increased hunger and cravings, which also leads to weight gain. So as you can see, it's like a triple, quadruple whammy, because there's fat storage, you don't have energy, you're craving food, and all of that. If you're craving a lot of food, you're obviously going to ingest too many calories, which, again, we're not counting calories, but excess anything can lead to weight gain. So that's kind of why we really want to focus, like blood sugar balance is super, super, super important with PCOS and with weight loss or weight maintenance. Melissa asked, does hair loss get better after losing weight with PCOS? So I'm going to say no, because hair loss isn't about your weight. It's about testosterone. And so you could be at a healthy weight and your testosterone can be off anyway. So you could still be losing hair, and you could be overweight and your testosterone be good and you're not going to lose hair, because it really is more about your testosterone levels and not so much about your weight. But losing weight can help balance some of your hormones. And when you do balance hormones, they're all working together. So if your estrogen and progesterone are balanced, like that's going to positively impact your other hormones, because none of them exist in a vacuum. They're all being affected by another. And that's why when we're just talking about weight gains, like there's fat storage, and that leads to one thing, and then it leads to another, and it leads to another. So they all kind of cascade. So if you're losing weight in a healthy way, all of that will help, but it's not, you might still have high testosterone and be at a healthy weight, if that makes sense. So good question. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Oh, there's another question. Maybe I'll just I'll answer this question and then I'll keep going. So Diane asked, I love smoothies, but I was told that fruits can set off PCOS symptoms due to the high amounts of natural sugars. Is there any way I can make it more PCOS friendly? Yeah, of course. So yeah, I mean, you can like make anything PCOS friendly because what we're really trying to do is make it blood sugar friendly. So there's two ideas that I have for that. And the first one is to eat something before the smoothie. So I'm guessing you eat your smoothies for breakfast. You might not. You might eat it as a snack. But let's say you eat it for breakfast. So how about you eat like an egg for breakfast and then you eat your smoothie? And so again, because you ate your protein first, that already created that buffer and it already helps with blood sugar balance, which will help with your PCOS. And the other thing is you can do that and you can also add protein and fats to your smoothie. So let's say I like collagen, but you can add collagen. Some people like adding an egg to the smoothie. You can always also use like high protein powders, walnuts. Some people like using avocados in their smoothies. So all of these things. So the two things I would say is like either eat a protein and then the smoothie, and also add more protein and more fats to the smoothie itself. So it's not really that fruity. And consider not adding too much fruit. So fruit can be good. Fruit is good because it has nutrients, it has vitamins and minerals, and we actually really want to focus on having like, this might be going too far into it, and this is something I really work more closely with my own clients, but mineral imbalance is actually the spark plug of all these other symptoms. So we are talking about hormones, but a step even deeper is talking about mineral balance. So again, with fruits, like they're full of minerals, so we don't want to not eat them, but we want to eat them smartly. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question. I like those questions because I like talking about food. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, types of foods to eat for PCOS. And I think I mentioned this as we've answered some questions, but so again, with PCOS, we're trying to like really focus on blood sugar balance and really focus on reducing inflammation, which is what's leading a lot of this. So anti-inflammatory foods, so avocado, olive oil, salmon, also nuts like walnuts, and then low GI carbohydrates, so things like sweet potatoes, oats, legumes, and veggies that have a low GI. GI stands for glycemic index. So I guess like the idea is like prioritize these types of carbs over like rice and I guess regular potatoes. And again, it's not that you can't eat these. These are just more blood sugar friendly. And also, I tend to think like these have more nutritional value, more vitamins and more minerals than like something like rice, which there's nothing wrong with rice, but kind of like choose wisely. And then eating plenty of protein, so meat, poultry, eggs, and fish. And going back to the smoothie question, eating high protein breakfast. And I like to encourage people to choose a savory breakfast over a sweet one, which is difficult because we've grown up with eating like more of a sugary breakfast. Like we think of breakfast, we think of pancakes and cereals and muffins and different things like that. So making the shift is a little challenging at first, but yeah, you can really eat anything for breakfast. So like, it doesn't have to just be eggs. Like you can eat leftovers for breakfast. And the idea is that if you start your day with a protein breakfast, it sets your day off for a better blood sugar balance. So you won't have as many cravings and you won't be hungry like halfway through the morning because you're giving your body the fuel that it needs to have that balance. Yeah, so those are the types of foods we want to focus on. Okay, let's do the other question. Oh, I'll read it out loud. Sorry. Jennifer asked, not losing weight at a calorie deficit. Any recommendations? On metformin, 500 milligrams, and was on birth control pills during the majority of my weight loss. Yeah, I guess there's different layers to this. So the thing with the calorie deficit is that we don't want to be in too much of a deficit, and this is where it gets tricky. And this is where I know it's what I'm going to say, but this is where I would recommend working with someone who can help you, because you don't want to be in too much of a deficit, because then that creates stress, and that stress, systemic stress, you might not feel stress, but your body does, also prevents you from losing weight. Metformin 500 can be okay too. And then with birth control, I'm wondering if, like, have you stopped birth control, and is that what you feel caused you to gain weight back? Because you were saying that you were on birth control during the majority of her weight loss, but I'm guessing you're gaining weight back, or you have gained the weight back. So I guess I need some clarification around that. But okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so diet tips for PCOS are to, I guess we can go back to the one we were. Yeah. And we kind of mentioned it. So low GI, carbohydrates. Another thing is to eat consistently throughout the day, and to ensure protein with every meal and snacks. So again, you don't want to eat lonely carbs. You want to eat them with protein, and fats is ideal. Like, eat them all three together, and then eat breakfast or a small snack in the morning. I'm saying this because a lot of women I've worked with, they don't eat breakfast, so it's hard to start that out. So you're not used to it, but even just eating something small, like, you don't have to eat this big breakfast. You just have to get your body used to eating something in the morning. And again, that just sets your day off for success in a sense. And reduce sugar and processed foods. So these are just things, kind of like, tips to keep in mind. And you don't have to do all of this all at once. Like, I would recommend pick one or two and really get comfortable and confident with doing that. So one that I like, and I think is probably easy to start with, is to eating consistently throughout the day, every 3 hours. So try to not skip meals. And then I guess that would tie into eating something in the morning if you're not used to eating breakfast, and starting out with that. And that can actually be a big change for some people. So if that's not something you're doing, be patient, give yourself time. But these are like just good habits to have, so that your body, again, with weight loss and with difficulty losing weight, is like your body doesn't feel safe to lose weight for whatever reason. And again, you might not feel like stressed yourself, but there's, like, exercise can be stress, dieting can be stress, lack of sleep can be stress. So if you're not losing weight, it's because, like, your body is like prioritizing something else because it doesn't feel safe to lose weight, and it thinks it needs to hold on to all this energy, because what weight is, and like what fat is just stored energy. So we just want our body to feel safe so that you can start losing weight. Isis asks, I have read testimonies about how successful cutting out gluten and dairy is, but I find it restrictive and I think you meant extensive. And it is also hard for me. Do you have any recommendations or words of motivation for me? Oh, this is a cute question. I like it. So, okay, this is what I'll say, because I have done this with some of my clients. And again, I think this one in particular is very, very, very person-to-person basis, like very patient-centered. And so what I would recommend, again, is to work with someone if you can. But if not, is that some people are truly gluten intolerant, and some people are truly dairy sensitive. And you don't really know, we won't really know until you do some kind of elimination for it. And so I would recommend maybe starting with one, like cutting out gluten, and again, that's why I think like working with someone is most beneficial, because you want to do it in a safe way. So you cut it out, but then you want to reintroduce it in a safe way. And there's like a specific way of doing it where you reintroduce it, watch for symptoms, reintroduce like a small amount, and then watch for symptoms, and then you kind of like build on that. and you see how your body responds. Because your body, after not eating it, you kind of clear it out of your system. And then when you reintroduce it, you will really notice a difference if your body was sensitive to it. So, for example, since I've done this with my clients in the past, like with dairy, there was this woman who we did this with, and when she reintroduced dairy, she like would get migraines right away. And again, this also goes back to the quality of foods that you're eating. So sometimes like high quality dairy doesn't have that impact, and a lot of the time it has to do with the quality of the food, with like hormones in dairy and all that other stuff that we have to look out for. But in a nutshell, I would recommend doing like what's called like an elimination diet and reintroducing it to see how your own body responds. So that's why you hear about it a lot, because it is helpful for some people. But it also might not be, yeah, if it's not a problem for you, there's no point of doing it, you know. So you want to really know if it's actually going to be helpful to you, and it's not just something you're doing because it's helped somebody else or because it's trendy, because like you said, it's restrictive. And it actually it's not as restrictive as you may think. It's just what we're used to eating. And it can be expensive, especially if you're getting like gluten-free products, which aren't all that great anyway sometimes, but they're just like, you know, trendy. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Diane has a question. Yeah. I know everyone's PCOS weight loss journey is different, but I want to know what has worked for most of your clients. Yeah, I think I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but I think prioritizing, really focusing and really being intentional about blood sugar balance has been one of the main things. I'm gonna say also mineral, like making sure you don't have any mineral deficiencies. And there's a test for this called HTMA, which is how you test your mineral balance and like the minerals in your body in your hair. And the third one would be prioritizing your circadian rhythm. So I feel like the third one goes very, it's underrated. It's super, super, super important to prioritize sleep and to balance your circadian rhythm. And again, ways of doing this are reducing blue light, getting like blue light in the morning from the sun, using blue light blockers, because like that has such an impact on your hormones, and we don't really think about it because it doesn't tie in with weight. Like we don't really acknowledge it, but it really, really does. So with my clients, we go through, like we do a step-by-step process. We go from one step to the other. So this can feel like there's a lot to change. And that's why, I recommend working with someone, whoever it is that you work with, but really having that in mind. So blood sugar balance, circadian rhythm balance, and if you can, getting your minerals tested, because again, everything starts with that. So minerals, and then hormones, and then metabolism, and then weight. So I hope that's helpful. I know it's like it's somewhere. It's easy, but it's also complex. Like we know the answers, but it takes a lot of change and a lot of intentionality. Scarlett asked, I have read a lot of posts about losing weight, that losing weight brings the symptoms under control, but are all these successes in conjunction with medicine also, or just weight loss? I think probably both. So weight loss can be super, super helpful because, again, like if you are losing weight, it's because you're already doing a lot of these really healthy habits and changing a lot of these things. If you're losing weight, it's because something's going right, especially if you're doing it naturally without like weight loss medication or metformin. It's because you're already doing all these other things that is leading to that weight loss. And as far as like medication, I wouldn't really, again, like some people get prescribed metformin and that can be your path. I don't think it's necessary. And actually there is, if you have PCOS, you might have heard of Inositol, which is a combination of Inositol and Inositol, which helps with insulin resistance, like specifically with insulin resistance. And I actually have a YouTube video that explains how Inositol helps with weight loss. So if I can, at the end of this, I'll like leave it in the comments so you can check it out. But it basically acts as metformin, but it's not a medication. It's natural. So I would recommend something like that if it's something that you are interested in. If you have insulin resistance, trouble losing weight, and if you're losing weight, but you also feel like you need a supplement, which if you're already losing weight, you might not, but I'll share that with you guys because I think it's in one of the slides too, but Inositol is like one of the supplements that has helped most of the women has helped all the women that have had PCOS that have taken it, that I've worked with. Okay, let's go to the next question. I feel like I'm going to say your name wrong, so I'm sorry, but Minas is taking metformin for PCOS and doing intermittent fasting bad. I have heard that women suffering from broader infertility problems or blood sugar issues should avoid it. So again, I feel like with medication, especially with metformin and with PCOS, yes, it may help, but metformin isn't really fixing anything. If anything, it has its own side effects that if you're looking for a natural approach, like that's probably not what you're looking for, is I guess what I'm going to say. And again, Inositol kind of replaces that in a big way. And again, like I wouldn't say stop metformin and start Inositol. I think it's important to do that in a safe way. Just like with birth control, like don't just stop it like willy-nilly, it's important to have a plan and to do it safely because otherwise you're going to get all this like rebound symptoms that you're not going to like. So I don't want to say it's bad, it's just not ideal with metformin. And then with intermittent fasting, I'm actually going to say no. Like I really feel like that is just not really good for women in general. First of all, it's not good for women to do long-term because it actually makes your hormone balance worse. And it also puts your body under stress, which puts you under, like makes everything worse too. So, and we're trying to remind our body that it's safe. And when we fast, this is what I'm going to say. Intermittent fasting can be okay with women or for women who don't have a hormone imbalance. So if you have a hormone imbalance, there's already something that is causing all this stress, and fasting makes it more stressful. And intermittent fasting in general, I wouldn't recommend for women for a long period of time. So it can be good to do, I would say, for like a month and then going back to normal eating. And some people find that more sustainable. I don't think it's necessary for weight loss, and I don't recommend it for women who are already struggling with their hormone balance. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We have about 15 minutes left, so we're doing good on time. Yeah, these are the supplements I was referring to. So Inositol is also what I'm calling Inositol. Inositol is just like the brand name. And studies have shown that Inositol promotes healthy hormone levels, which may support regular menstrual cycles and healthy ovarian function. Inositol also promotes healthy lipid levels and supports healthy egg quality in certain women who are trying to conceive. And it also helps with insulin sensitivity, which is not on there, but we were just talking about that. So, and then NAC is N-acetylcysteine, and it also helps with insulin sensitivity and to decrease inflammation. And it's found in high protein foods like chicken, eggs, and legumes, but it's also a supplement. So you can find it as a supplement. There is a dispensary called Fullscript. And again, if you want a link for that, let me know. But that's where you can find all these pharmaceutical grade supplements, because that's one thing I'll mention about supplements is that you don't want to just get any supplement. because they're very unregulated in the market. So if you just go, for example, to Walmart, you might not be getting what you think you're getting. And so getting a supplement that's pharmaceutical grade is important. And the way, like a place that you can get that is through Fullscript. So if you want the link for that, I can share it with you, maybe at the end, or you can just reach out to me and I'll share that with you. Let's go to the next slide. Glucose support balance to balance blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and reduce cravings. There are some supplements for helping you with glucose balance. Inositol is similar to that, so if you want something more, you can always look into that. And then magnesium, again, going back to minerals. Minerals are super, super important, and they're not really looked into, and we don't really think about them when we talk about PCOS, and they're actually like the first, almost like the first line of defense that we have to look at. And again, like we get them through food, but magnesium is the one that gets depleted the most because it gets depleted with stress, and we are all under stress all the time. So most people in general are deficient in magnesium. So having a magnesium supplement just in general for anyone, let alone for women with PCOS, is going to be really helpful. And I like to use this brand called Trace Minerals, and it's a liquid form of minerals. And you can look into those. But it helps reduce stress and anxiety, which helps reduce inflammation and prevent adrenal fatigue, and it also helps with hormone balance in general. Okay, next slide. Okay, so I think we're nearing the end. So I want to talk about mindset because this is like a big component of that. We can talk about diet and exercise and what to do all day long, but just know that it will take time. If you have had PCOS for a long time, or if you were diagnosed just recently, you probably have had it for a long time. So I guess it took a long time for you to figure out what you had or to develop these symptoms. So know that it will take some time to reverse them and to start feeling better. And one good rule of thumb is that you won't really see any changes for at least 3 months. So give yourself 3 months of grace and patience of being consistent with whatever you're doing to truly see a shift. And also with your hormones, we're always encouraged to check our hormones at least every 3 months because that's when you kind of see more of this meaningful change. So again, I often get asked how long it will take for my symptoms to improve. It will take at least 4 weeks for inflammation to start reducing and for you to start experiencing symptom relief. That's just like a month, but it can take up to 6 to 9 months to reverse these imbalances. So I want to say like 3 months is a really good place to reevaluate things. So start making these shifts, these changes with patience and giving yourself grace and being consistent with them. But give yourself at least 3 months before you're like, oh, this isn't working. It's important to follow your diet closely and start taking supplements that either you think you need, or I would, if you can work with someone who can prescribe specific supplements for you, that's always the best. And incorporating physical activity. For this, I'm going to say walking is best for women with PCOS. It's low impact. It's not going to be stressful. It helps with anxiety. It helps with stress. It's free. So I would say if you can walk, it also helps with insulin sensitivity. Walk as much as you can. Next slide. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, okay, I think we have a question. Oh, great. So yeah, we actually have 10 minutes, about 10 minutes, like 8 minutes left for questions. But yeah, remember why you're doing this, why you started. You got this. It takes time, but you'll be really happy when you're done and when you feel like your symptoms are so much better and you feel like yourself again. I've heard this so many times of women telling me like, I just don't feel like myself. Like you look back and you're like, so many of these symptoms that you didn't have, and all of a sudden you have all these things that are going on, and it's reversible. Like trust that, know that. I've seen it. women who've experienced and know that. So again, give yourself time. You got this. You can do it. We'll answer some questions, and yeah, you can always since you're here, like you can find me in the Kounsel app if you have any more questions or if you want to work with me. Please find me there. We'll just drop the link to the Kounsel app so you can find me there. If you have any questions or if you want to work with me, please reach out. I have some programs that I am offering, but you can also work with me just one-on-one. So I wanted to let you know that. So let's answer this question. I'm looking for some advice that I can incorporate into my life to help manage my insulin resistance. Do you have any tips for insulin resistance type of PCOS? Yes. So I think mainly what I've discussed so far, but I would suggest Ovasitol is a good supplement if you're looking for a supplement. That one is safe and also effective and also natural. The second will be blood sugar balance in your meals. So walking after meals, eating protein, fats, and carbs together always, including with your snacks, and eating your foods in a certain order. Even if you eat a meal, like eating your veggies and your protein before you eat your carb. So those are the big things that you can work on right now. Yeah, I don't know if you guys, let me see. Let me see if I can share with you the links here before you guys leave to Ovasitol and to Fullscript, and also, the Kounsel link too. Yeah, but those are the best ways to help with insulin resistance for sure. Samantha asked, what foods help with fertility with PCOS? So I would say for fertility for everyone, but also for women with PCOS, I would say choline, like foods that have choline. So eggs, for example, and liver are great. I know liver isn't super light, but eggs, specifically the egg yolk, is really rich in choline. And with liver, try to eat liver if you can, but there's also liver capsules that you can find. I would say those are the main nutrients. As far as foods other than egg and liver, I would say almost the same, like a variety of protein and healthy fats. So salmon, olive oil, avocados, chicken, eggs, nuts. So all these are really, really rich in nutrients that are going to help you, not just for you, but help you with fertility and for egg quality as well. Yeah. Yeah. How can you naturally ovulate with PCOS? So I guess the better question for that is to find out why you're not ovulating, because that is, we have to find out why you're not ovulating to really know how you can ovulate. So we really need to know what the actual problem is so that we know how to solve it. So for example, some people are not ovulating because they're under a lot of stress. So that could be why. So again, this isn't a clear answer. And so I would really suggest getting your hormones checked. Again, I really like the Dutch test. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. But we really need to know what's causing the anovulation, and it can be different for different people. So yeah. Okay, guys. Let me see if I can find those links. Specifically this one for
Hi guys.
specifically this one for the YouTube video I was talking to you about. But yeah, let me know. Okay, yeah. This is a link for the YouTube video that we'll be sharing just now. Maria asked if vitamin C is bad for PCOS, and I mean, not inherently, no. What I would say is to go into really natural, holistic supplements. look for vitamin C that isn't just ascorbic acid. So it's liposomal vitamin C. And again, that is why I really would like geared you towards using something like Full Script so that you can find like quality supplements. But then if you're eating like vitamin C rich foods, like there's like no, like that's not going to be harmful for you in any way. So yeah, no, vitamin C isn't necessarily bad for PCOS. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay, let me give you the link for Full Script as well. I think they've shared with you the link for the YouTube video. And this is the link for Full Script. I'm showing it right now. Yeah. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. If you want to reach out to me through Kounsel, please do so. I hope I answered your questions. I hope this was valuable and helpful for you guys. It was super fun to do it. So yeah, I'll wait for a few minutes to see if anyone else pops up any questions here. Janine asked, what are healthy protein sources for a person with PCOS? Yeah, I would again say eggs are really, really good. Nuts, eggs and walnuts are probably one of my favorite foods for women with PCOS. They have so many, like, they're very nutrient rich. And I mean, I guess eggs are really cost effective. Walnuts are not so much. So there's like a combination there. But also just chicken and eggs. I mean, and fish. Fish because it's anti-inflammatory. Chicken is just like a solid protein. But I really like eggs and like walnuts, but other nuts too. Hemp seeds are also like rich in nutrients. So yeah. With fruits too, like you didn't ask about fruit, but whenever somebody asked about smoothies, I don't know if it was Diane, but with smoothies, adding fruits like berries, so blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, those are going to be the most blood sugar friendly. So if you prioritize those fruits, they're not going to spike your sugars as much. So doesn't mean you can't eat the other fruits, but you definitely want, if you're trying to prioritize blood sugar balance, the berries are the best option. Okay, awesome. So I think we'll just wrap it up there. You can find me on Kounsel. I think we'll share my link to Kounsel here. And yeah, please reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you so much for being here. This is great. This is awesome. You can always also just like follow me on wherever you found me. I have a YouTube channel and an Instagram. So those are the main places you can find me. And on Kounsel, of course. So I look forward to like working with you or hearing from you if you have any questions in the future. And yeah, thank you so much. Bye.